Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. And every hour I need you. My one defense and my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. You're my one defense and my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. You're my one defense and my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you.
Thank you, RJ. You may be seated. Happy Pride Month. It is June 1, and the very first day of Pride Month, we get to also worship together here. I'd like to remind you of what it means to be an ally to the rainbow or LGBTQIA+ community. Just some thoughts from one person. An ally has genuine concern for the well-being of LGBTQ people. An ally supports and accepts LGBTQ people. An ally advocates for equal rights and for treatment. An ally confronts challenges that LGBTQ people experience. You know, we have, every month of the year, there's like a different group of people, practically every month of the year, that we focus on. And the reason we have to have those months is because not everyone is seen as equal on our planet. And so Pride Month is a time for us to celebrate whether we are part of the rainbow community or siblings. I call us siblings, allies or siblings. This is a time for us to both celebrate you and to remind the world that you are God's chosen ones as well. So as this month progresses, I'd like each of us, from whatever our vantage point is, to think of ways and to learn and to educate ourselves on better ways to be allies, or to just even understand why that's important. And just find one thing that you can do to improve your knowledge or to improve the world around you for your rainbow siblings. So that's just one thought I wanted to share this morning on June 1st. We do celebrate next week with a queer evening of worship and conversation. Here's the slide. Ray is organizing that with a team, and her information is there on the slide. It's also in the bulletin online. And so I hope you can join us next Friday at 7 o'clock. That is also the same weekend as the Pride Parade in LA. So take a look at information online for that. It's a great place to be an ally. I think something I want to do sometime is to give out mom hugs, because there are people that haven't had mom hugs for a while. Today we have a very full day. We, as you can see from the symbols up here, are celebrating our quarterly foot washing, or more formally known as Ordinance of Humility. And that's just a great moment, a symbolic moment for us to be reminded how the concept, the value of humility in following Jesus is really important. More important, or no, I wouldn't even say more. I was going to say more important than shouting on the street corner. And I'm like, replace shouting on the street corner with humility. And then we're all getting better at being followers of Jesus. And we'll have communion after that. Branden will lead us in that after our after his sermon, not our sermon, his sermon. And then we'll have lunch afterwards in the brick building outside to the other end of the campus. Campus makes it sound so huge. At the other end of our building, the red part. And food is already cooked for everybody. The best way that we can participate in lieu of cooking or bringing food is to add our funds to the collection for buying those ingredients. Following that, we have our monthly Peace and Justice gathering. It's a really great conversation time. Depending on who's in the room, we might start at the beginning with what is peace and justice. If it's new to those of you who are gathering, this week we are going to talk a little bit about the Just Love 2024 Summit, which is a new collective that just started gathering of people all over the place, all over the planet, who care about justice, who are Christians who care about justice. So Bill and I will just share something from that. We went to that last month, which is why we didn't have a gathering. And then we're going to consider the question, what concerns for your community keep you up at night? When we ask that question, we're asking it to you as an individual and as a community member. So community might mean a bunch of things to you. It could be your work, it could be where you live, it could be this church, it could be a variety of places where you spend your time. All of that is community. And we'll ask that question together and see what that brings up for us. That's it for today's events. I would like to call Branden and Andrew up and share with us about a very special person to our community, even if a bunch of us don't actually know her personally.
So this week there was a funeral for Nina Sorkin. We have some photos. Here we go. This incredible woman lived a life of service for so many years. Andrew will share a bit about how she connected with our church and Compassion Connection. But Nina, there's a unique story behind her family and my family. My grandparents, my grandfather and grandmother pastored the North Hollywood Church for a number of years, and she was one of the little girls, one of the, I think, early teens when they pastored that church. And so I had the privilege at her funeral to give the message of hope and reminder of her faith. So that arc closed this past week with her life. And it's been an honor to know her and to see the way that she served in every sphere of investment that she could possibly invest in her family, in the church, in city spaces, in every committee she could get herself on, and she advocated for the needs of those that were around her. Didn't matter who they were. When she saw a need, she tried to meet it. And I said during the funeral that if she could live forever on this earth, she probably would have addressed every single issue in the entire world. Just a tenacious woman and admirable one.
Nina was a really wonderful woman. She would listen to you and hear what was going on. And she was really great at networking and pulling. When you got to know Nina, you would become her friend. And she was, I will say she was a holy troublemaker. Not in a bad sense, but she was a troublemaker in the sense that she was always doing something and getting people involved in something. And she was always involved in a project, and she would bring her friends in on the project. And so it didn't matter what it was, she had a place where you could be serving with her. So she was just including people in serving in everything that she did. And she was very involved in our Compassion Connection program for many, many years. She was a heavy supporter of it financially, but also through her time. Like I said, she would get her friends together, and when the thrift store closed over at Vallejo Drive Church, she and her friends rescued all the clothes from the thrift store and brought it over to our boutique so that we could have clothing for our boutique. She was constantly bringing socks and snacks for the clients. And then you may have heard us talk about the dinners that we have done for Compassion Connection guests to celebrate the holiday. And Nina was intimately involved in planning all of those and cooking the food. So she's just a very special woman, and she will be missed. But we wanted to take a moment to honor her today.
Well, thank you both. I think I had the privilege of meeting her once when she was sitting here at church, and just a bundle of energy and positivity, and I felt like she knew me and I knew her already. She just gave you that feeling that you were a family just by saying hello to each other. So thank you both. Well, we have another person. I'm going to ask you to stay up here, Branden, because we have somebody else to acknowledge and recognize, Joey. Yeah, this is a good time to come up. Joey has been a part of our community for I don't even know how long, a long time, since 2015. And this is his last Sabbath with us, at least for now. I don't know, in person, yes. Last Sabbath, we have to say that now, don't we? Yeah, not have to, it just makes sense. So, your last Sabbath with us in person, so I have a couple questions for you, and then we have a few people who want to say some thoughtful words. Okay, so, what will you miss about Hollywood?
My friends, Griffith Park, and the church.
Okay, we are in a short list of 3 things. That is pretty cool. Okay, so you are moving to Minnesota, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's my extra question. All right, what prompted you to move to Minnesota?
Cheaper rent, more jobs, and you get the 4 seasons.
The 4 seasons. I remember 4 seasons. They're beautiful. I hope you enjoy them. So, how have you seen God at work in your life? Some parting words with us.
He has guided me through my life, through tough times.
That's big. I can see it. Branden, I think you have a few things you'd like to say to Joey, and then I'd like to follow that up with Merlinda. Stay up here. Oh,
So, Joey, when first Joey came to this church, as a side, one of the things that I love about being a part of a church community is that we get to know each other in a way that we do life together. We see each other through these arcs of everything, honestly. The good, the bad, the difficult, the happy, the celebratory, the really contentious, everything, all of it. It's all part of part of doing life together as humans, and we do that around Christ in the church. So when Joey first came to the church, we didn't have a whole lot in common, but we continued to talk, get to know each other. There weren't these automatic ins. I'm a bit nerdy, he's pretty cool and streetwise. I'm definitely not either of those. And for us to be able to talk and to be able to just be in relationship with each other, even through some difficult times at the church as a whole, and as you went through, we went through that together, the difficult and the wonderful, all together. And Joey stayed a part of the church. He continued to find ways to invest himself in this church, volunteering in many different capacities, including Compassion Connection and other areas of the church's ministry. And then to watch him fall in love with Jesus in a new, fresh way, personally. To be baptized, I had that privilege of baptizing him. And being able to decide that he wanted to serve God with his life in ministry, and then to pursue that, and to watch all of these things. So, Joey, thank you for being a part of the church community and continuing to be a part of the church community, but from afar, thanks to the tech team that's able to do that. And I'm privileged to know you and continue to be a part of your life.
Yeah. So go ahead and give that to Merlinda. And just a shout out to the elders. I didn't give you any warning, but in a moment, those of you who can part ways with whatever you're doing right now, I will lead you up on stage in just like a moment after Merlinda talks.
Hi, I'm Merlinda, and I met Joey. He just reminded me this morning. It was 9 years ago, and we met at Open Table Outreach, which was a ministry where we served dinner to the unhoused community, and we did that for several years, and we would have Bible study after. So Joey, it was Meeks, Ginny, Brian, Lyric, Greg, Princess. We all kind of became this family. And it's just such a joy to see all of them actually attending this church. And Joey and I actually had a lot of things in common versus, versus what Pastor said, because we connected with our past right away. We had a very troublesome childhood, abuse, violence, and believe it or not, we were comparing gangs. Because in high school, we both kind of hung around with gangs. Can you imagine? But now we connect with sports. We always argue about who we're rooting for in basketball and football. But right away, he became like a brother to me, and just to see him grow, and like Pastor Branden said, in his walk with the Lord, one of the most joyous time was to see him graduate. A few of us got to see him graduate his first year, and then of course get baptized. And like Branden said, your family, you'll always be family, whether you're 10 feet away or 10,000 miles away, and we're gonna miss you, and we're so thankful for you. So, blessings on this new season.
You can hand it to Greg. Why did I say Greg? Okay, Branden. I know who our pastor's name is. Okay, elders, I'd like you to come join us up in front. Joey, we would like to have a special prayer dedication for you as you leave for literally greener pastures in Minnesota. They also have more mosquitoes, by the way. All those lakes. Okay. And we are going to, lay our hands.
God, all of us here in our church, we ask a very special blessing on Joey, our brother, our friend. Lord, we ask that you bless him as he travels. We bless him as he settles in and finds community in person while he stays connected with us. Lord, give him your wisdom and guidance. Connect him with the people the people of peace that you've already had working and living in those spaces as he moves away. Thank you for his investment here and for his presence among us. And together, we send him off well. We ask and pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Joey, and we have a little token, something for you to remember us by. All right. So let's take a moment now to greet one another and make sure that each of us feels loved and accepted and like we belong here in Jesus.
Happy Sabbath. It is offering time in Hollywood. There's a lot to donate, as we've mentioned. We talked about the Compassion Connection. So I updated some of us last week that the grant for the new shower trailer went through, and we're working on building that. So there was a lot of turmoil in trying to get that United Way check deposited to our account. So in order to avoid some of those things in the future, if you are still making out physical checks, make them out to Hollywood SDA Church, Hollywood Seventh-day Adventist Church, anywhere where the Hollywood part is first in the recipient. There are many things you can also donate to, like we still have the renovation loan that we are paying off, building improvements. The roof needs some work, so we need to continue to donate to that. In the online giving, you can donate to the line item that is designated building improvement. If you want to donate specifically to the re-roofing project, or if you want to help pay off the renovation loan, there's a line item for that as well. Also mentioned earlier today was the potluck. You can donate to foodies. That's a line item on there. And you can donate to the music ministry, the tech ministry that is giving us the live stream, to all the internet folks out there. And yeah, just as you heard, Nina was one of the ones donating. I personally saw some of those donations come in, and it was warming my heart. So I also know some of you donate generously and regularly, and that also warms my heart. So may God continue to bless you in this season.
So, we are moving through the Daniel series together, looking at what God did in the life of Daniel and his friends while they were in exile. You know, exile, exile, to be banished, to be stolen from your homeland, the place that your family owns, lives. Some of you have experienced exile in a number of different ways. Some of you have experienced being literally kicked out of your country, or realizing that you can't go back to your country for one reason or another. What a terrifying experience to think that where you know, where you belong, you're not allowed. Daniel, in his experience, we had just looked at last week these two visions of Daniel that Daniel received. And these visions were for the Babylonians, and then also for his people, the people from his bloodline anyway. And so he has these different perspectives of the same events, talking about the domination. He saw the oppression that was going to be coming onto the earth. He knew about the things that he personally had experienced. He knew about the things in history, but when God gave him that vision of the future, and he saw the destructive power of those that oppress and coerce and manipulate and destroy, it made him so sick to his stomach. At one point he faints, 2 points he faints, and God picks him up and continues to speak